For a time, we tried to contact him by radio, but no response.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Dumb Marks podcast. Tonight, Steve and I are going to give our predictions for AEW Full Gear this upcoming Saturday night. Steve, how do you feel going into Full Gear?
I'm excited. This card is stacked.
Yeah, it is.
I think a lot of people were saying this is the card that they expected for All Out.
Yeah.
And we're getting it at Full Gear. So maybe we have it wrong. Maybe All Out's not the biggest pay-per-view of the year for them. It's going to be Full Gear. Who knows?
It's almost like, for where it falls in, it's almost like their anniversary show in a way, other than what they did, on TV for us.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see in the years to come how the cards shake out, and that I still think All Out will be their main big show of the year. But this card is absolutely loaded. We have 8 matches, 9 including the buy-in, so expect a longer pay-per-view tomorrow night. I don't think you'll get your 2 hour and 45-minute pay-per-view that you've been getting like we've seen with WWE lately. So
no, I think this is going to go. AEW's usually gone like the 3 to 4 hour mark, and I think it'll probably go. We're East Coast, so it'll probably go to midnight for us.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to see a 4-hour pay-per-view, but I'll be shocked if this goes just 3 hours till 11. We'll see here.
The only thing that I think is a shame for this event is for how stacked the card is, that the fans will just be limited in attendance. Because I think if this was in an arena show, like with a full attendance of fans, they'd be blowing the lid off this place for the matches that we're seeing this Saturday.
Yeah, I believe they said on Dynamite last night, I think JR said that they are allowed 1,000 people in Daly's Place tomorrow night for the pay-per-view. So that's up 500 from what they normally allow for Dynamite. They're allowed up to 500 for Dynamite. So, 1,000 people in there, might get a little bit better crowd response and reaction than what we've been seeing and hearing on Wednesday nights with only 500. So that'll be interesting to see how that comes across on the product watching it wise.
Yeah, I mean, we used to watch ECW events where they barely had 500 fans in, and they blew the roof off of that place. But
absolutely,
being outside the Daly's Place, it has a roof, but it's open air, so that you kind of lose a little bit of the crowd noise in that type of situation. But hopefully they still deliver.
I mean, the crowd was pretty raucous last night for Dynamite, so I'm hoping with this card and with these matches, I think 1,000 people may sound closer to like 5,000 people tomorrow night or Saturday night. So, all right, well, enough chit-chat here. You guys are here for predictions, and we've been doing fairly well on our predictions on the last couple of pay-per-views that we've reviewed. We've knocked them, haven't gone 100%, but we've been shooting very high percentage here. So we'll look to keep that up. Afterwards, feel free to comment and share your predictions with us as we run through the card here, and let us know what you think ahead of Full Gear, and we'll get ready to hammer through this list of matches. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, so we'll start with the buy-in. We have NWA champion Serena Deeb versus Allison Kay for the NWA Women's Championship match.
This is a great NWA match.
I wouldn't mind seeing both of these women in AEW. Who knows what Serena Deeb is? I could have sworn she did sign with AEW, but I may have been mistaken.
No, I thought I saw that announced as well. I know Allison Kay isn't, but I'm pretty sure Serena is signed with AEW, so she must have a deal where she can do both AEW and NWA. But
so I thought this was a little bit odd because I believe Allison Kay is now a free agent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe I saw a report saying that she's now a free agent. Her and Thunder Rosa are like the two big free agents out there now.
Interesting.
So it's interesting that she is challenging for the NWA Women's Championship, given that fact. But we'll see here. I expect this match to set the tone for the night. I think both of these women are going to go out there and kill it.
Yeah, and Allison is a former NWA Women's Champion, correct?
Yeah, yep. She lost the belt to Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa actually beat her for the belt. So
I think it's a shame this is on the buy-in, but maybe you'll get more eyes on on the match being on the buy-in since it's going to be available like on YouTube and other areas. So
yeah, you might get some additional pay-per-view buys if people turn on and see this buy-in match. It may get some people to hand over the $50 to actually order the card because of how good of a match it potentially can be.
Yeah.
So, all right, who you got? You got Deeb retaining or Allison Kay?
I got Deeb retaining. I mean, I don't see she just won, and I didn't know Allison Kay's whole situation about being a free agent, but right now that doesn't change my prediction. I don't think we'll see an NWA title change on AEW television. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think Deeb will retain, and we'll see where she goes with the belt from here. So that's the buy-in. We'll jump into the main card here. And these match orders that I'm going to read off aren't in any particular order. We're just running through the card, so we don't know how the show is going to actually be formatted. But we'll start with Orange Cassidy and John Silver.
This is a match that didn't expect, to be. It was originally put on the buy-in, and they moved it to the main card yesterday. I think John Silver, in my eyes, his stock's rising. We've seen the evolution of Orange Cassidy the past few months, where I think John Silver's, kind of been sneaky about his ascension on the AEW roster. For that whole reason, where I think we've seen Orange Cassidy just continue to rise and rise and rise, I think Saturday night's going to be John Silver's night to shine. So I'm going with John Silver in this match, yeah.
Wow. That's it's hard to have Cassidy on pay-per-view and not see him winning.
That's true. He just came off that win on pay-per-view with Jericho, too.
I think this is a match where you see Orange Cassidy go over, but John Silver get over. Yeah. So I think Cassidy will pick up the win here, but I think Silver, as you said, will continue to elevate his stock moving forward. So I think he'll get over even more than what he is already. If you follow Being the Elite, the BTE show on YouTube, he's a mainstay on there.
Yeah.
Definitely has a lot of charisma, character-wise. He really is full out into himself and what he does. So he's letting that personality turn up to a 10 and showing it full blown. But I think Cassidy will get the win. He'll go over, but Silver will get over in the course of the match.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so next we'll go to the Elite Deletion match with Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara.
Okay. After All Out, just the unfortunate train wreck that turned into that match between the two of them, I think they're really going to be coming out and trying to give us the best situation they can. I'm guessing it's going to be pre-taped as a cinema match instead of going live like they tried last time. But we'll find out on Saturday.
I hope so. Honestly, these two make me nervous together. And given the incident from the last pay-per-view with Matt Hardy, I really do hope that it is a cinematic pre-tape match that they put on the card itself. I think both of them can have a really good match. It's just they're snake bitten. They need to move on from each other. Enough's enough, and let this be the last match between these two for a long time.
Yeah, and I think luckily they didn't continue on with this feud. Like it hasn't dragged on week after week after week since All Out. But I agree. I think the feud's still a little fresh because of how that match turned out at All Out. But I agree. I see Matt Hardy winning this just because it's in his element. If they would have had just a regular match, I actually probably would have put Sammy over. But being, at the Hardy compound, I'm going with Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think Hardy comes out on top, babyface.
Yeah.
Stands tall in the end, and Sammy, he won't be hurt by losing this feud. Like you said, move on to something else and someone else. So I agree with you. I think Matt Hardy picks up the win here.
Yeah.
So next we'll move into the women's championship match for the AEW title with Hiroku Shida as the champion against Nyla Rose, the challenger, with Vicky Guerrero in her corner.
I think we both agreed that the build-up to this match was non-existent.
Did you see Cody's response to that?
No, I didn't.
So Cody gave a long response to that. I guess that what's the word here? I guess lack of approval in the storyline for this match, like you said, or angst for not having a storyline from wrestling fans. And Cody said, AEW has rankings for a reason. They're 1 and 2. Not every match is going to be storyline based. So, he hopes that people care less about how they got to the match and more about the execution of the match.
And I think the match is going to, I think the two of them are going to go on. It's going to be a hard-hitting contest. Something tells me that this probably wasn't the planned match for the event, because it really seemed like they were trying to do something again with Shida and Thunder Rosa, and then that just kind of dropped off. So I don't know if it was going to be another one-on-one match or maybe a tag match or something, but something tells me that whatever plans they had to get repositioned, and that's why they went with this match with Nyla being the number 2 contender.
I think that the knock on most of this card is, storylines haven't been built up as AEW normally does for a pay-per-view, but this is also the first time that they turned around a pay-per-view in 2 months. So this is the shortest turnaround.
2 weeks after their last event.
Yeah, so this is the shortest turnaround for them as far as between pay-per-view to pay-per-view. So maybe they weren't exactly sure on how to proceed to get the build-up done in that amount of time for the show.
Yeah.
So they gave storylines for certain matches. Other matches like this one seem to just be thrown together. But there's been other wrestling organizations that put on pay-per-views where the card's not even announced until the day of WWE. So let's not get too bogged down. Let's not get too bogged down in storytelling being the only reason to have matches on a pay-per-view. They're 1 and 2 in the rankings. They're going to go out. They're going to put on a show. It will be hard-hitting just like their last match. I got Shida retaining the belt.
I do too. I'd be much surprised if Nyla walked away with the title tomorrow night. But other things have surprised us in the past. So.
Yep, that's very true. So we're pretty much chalked through so far. The only dissension is you got Silver and I got Cassidy so far.
Yeah.
All right, so moving along here, we'll go into the MJF Chris Jericho match. If MJF wins, he's allowed to join the Inner Circle. Again, another match where people haven't been absolutely keen on the build. However, last night's Dynamite kind of turned it up a notch and got you back interested in the match, or at least it did for me. It got me back interested in the match again to see how it actually plays out.
Yeah, I mean, on Dynamite this week, you actually saw a little bit of a dissension between MJF and the Inner Circle. Instead of him calling, being buddy-buddy with everybody, he was actually on the opposition, especially him attacking Jericho on the stage while Jericho was on commentary. That just really elevated the build-up to this match,
right.
Hey, we're here, you're not gonna call me soft, like Jericho kept doing, like Inner Circle kept doing all night, and that just put MJF, got his blood boiling, and I actually am going to put MJF over in this match.
I think MJF does win, and he joins the Inner Circle to see where that storyline goes.
Yeah.
It's the only reason why I want to see him win. I want to see where they go with it.
Because now he doesn't. Now it's like they don't want him in, and maybe he doesn't really want to be there now. But we are where we are in the match, and that could make for some interesting TV for at least for a few weeks, or maybe build up to the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that would be back-to-back pay-per-view losses for Jericho. Do you think that happens?
It could, because I don't think it hurts Jericho. I mean, he's at that stage of his career that him helping younger talent get over is the best position for him to be in.
I agree. I think there's more legs after the pay-per-view if MJF wins than if he loses.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so we'll go with Jericho, or we'll both go with MJF there for the win there. Moving on to another title match here that, again, didn't really have a build, but hell of a promo cut by Cody Rhodes, as he's legally allowed to be called again. If you guys haven't noticed, if you guys haven't heard that, Cody Rhodes will now be Cody Rhodes again against
he
Darby
wasn't
Allin.
sure if Justin Roberts will refer to him as Cody Rhodes yet, but he can at least go by it.
Yeah, so Cody Rhodes against Darby Allin for the AEW TNT Championship. Cody with a good promo after the main event last night on Dynamite to help set up the stage and the table for the match. Thoughts on this one?
I'm really looking forward to this match. I mean, Darby's a unique talent, and that's kind of what Cody talked about, in his promo after the main event match, is that, he sees something in Darby, and he hopes that he can bring it out of Darby as well. They both bring their A game. I don't necessarily see Darby winning. I'm actually going to go with Cody to retain, but I mean, this could possibly be match of the night.
Yeah, they had a great match at Fyter Fest in Darby's first match with Cody, the time limit draw that really, I guess, established Darby in AEW, and he just took a rocket to himself ever since then, and it's huge with the fan base.
He really is.
I think so there's been and this goes back to Cody beating Orange Cassidy and some rumblings. There's been a lot of chatter about Cody Triple H Rhodes, where he just constantly puts himself over, and it's starting to get some backlash from the fans online. Whether or not that translates to the crowd in the arena, I don't know. Cody's such a beloved babyface.
Yeah.
It might be kind of hard to turn, the entire crowd to do a 180 on him like that. But the rumblings are starting to grow. So if he goes over on Darby here, who's a true fan favorite, just like Orange Cassidy, I think that momentum, as far as him being the pure babyface, is going to start to turn on him even more. I think he'll retain, but just something to keep an eye on with that moving forward, to see how the fans actually react to him in these matches with some of their fan favorites.
Yeah, I can agree with that. My only thing is, I don't know if anybody is built up enough to continue carrying the TNT title, as being the mid-card title, defending it every week on Dynamite. I think Darby would give us a few good matches, but I don't think we'd see longevity in his title reign if he would become champion. It's kind of like,
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Darby win and him and Starks just continue their feud for the AEW title.
Yeah, and
Starks is somebody that you can put that TNT championship on. He had the NWA television title, and he's somebody that can go out there and have a match with anybody.
Yeah, and like Taz said, he needs to get on the rankings. Starks is a talent. I could see him, being TNT champion in 2021, and holding on to it for a bit.
Yep,
I think he's right there. Like he's just about ready. I think putting him with Taz was the smartest move they could have done with him.
So we both have Cody in this match.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then we'll move on to the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament final match between Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega, which I don't know if you were a betting man. If you had anybody else in this tournament to meet in the finals, you definitely were going out on a limb. As both Hangman and Omega acknowledged last night on Dynamite, yeah, it was obvious. You could see it. It was predictable, whatever the case may be. But we're here. It's the finals, and we're going to get a conclusion to this, almost year-long storyline of them with dissension and, tag team and everything else. So I'm really looking forward to this match. I think this match could be the match of the night for me.
Okay. It almost seems like destiny that this match was bound to happen at some point. They just had to do this tournament to get us there. And I think that, Hangman Page is on a long-term booking plan. Like, I'm going with Kenny Omega in this match just because I believe Kenny Omega is the next AEW World Champion, whenever that happens, whether it's Revolution or after. But this match is going to have to be twofold. It's to put Kenny Omega over to look like the next champion, and it's just got to continue their long-term booking of Adam Page of becoming a future AEW champion. Since the whole AEW World Title Tournament started last year, it seems like AEW is booking him to be the future of AEW, and this is just the next stepping stone for that.
Yeah, this would be, if you're going long-term storytelling, this would be where Hangman loses, and then a year from now we get the rematch, and Hangman gets his I don't want to say WrestleMania moment like Shawn Michaels, but he has that moment where he ascends to the mountaintop and beats Kenny Omega just like Michaels beat Bret Hart. Like, that's where I can see it going storyline wise. So
we'll probably see him get to rehab or something and get clean and just keep working his way out.
Oh, I mean, the drinking angle on AEW was way better than the drinking angle on WWE with Jeff Hardy. So I'd rather have Hangman carry around a glass of whiskey than what they did, WWE wise with Hardy and that. Yeah. So I'll agree with you. I'll go with Omega in this one. Like you said, he's the one that's going to take the belt off Moxley.
Yeah.
Unless Moxley loses it Saturday night. So
we'll get into that in a few minutes.
All right. So next is the AEW Tag Team Championship match. FTR, the champions, against the Young Bucks. If the Young Bucks lose, they'll never challenge for the AEW World Tag Team Championship again. And as we learned today, Tully Blanchard is banned from ringside. He will not be in the corner of FTR.
I actually didn't know that. So, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Added stipulation to the stipulation that was already in place.
Okay. That could make things interesting.
I think I would rather have that been the stipulation, the only stipulation. I could have did without the Young Bucks saying that they're not going to challenge for the belts if they lose. Like we covered this in the podcast last week. Go back to episode 9 of the Dumb Marks podcast and listen to the Bell to Bell segment for that when we covered it. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't needed. We've already seen it with Cody. There's no reason to rehash it again in the same year. There was nothing that warranted the Bucks to say that they wanted that stipulation added onto it.
Yeah.
You could have had enough of a build with taking Matt Jackson and injuring the ankle like you did, and then having Tully Blanchard banned from ringside. I think would have been fine enough as far as storyline and stipulation going into the match.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is just the whole stipulation of the Young Bucks saying that if they don't win, they won't get another title shot is just to kind of throw you off the scent a little bit of what you expect the match ending to be, because you already had this once and Cody lost, so now you're questioning, okay, are the Bucks going to win or are they going to lose? Because we've seen what happens in the past with this. This is, at the end of the day, this is pro wrestling, so I don't ever sit there and say, once you write an ending like that, like Cody can't ever get a title shot again. Cody's going to get a title shot again. It's just depending on how they write the next storyline to give him the title shot.
Cody can't get a title shot, but Cody Rhodes.
I was going to say that. That's exactly some shit that they do in pro wrestling. So, yeah, that stipulation doesn't do anything for me, because if the Young Bucks, they'll enter a tournament or something and they'll win the tournament, that'll guarantee them a title shot, or something will happen that they'll get the title shot if they don't win the titles. I brought this up last week. I really see this possibly being a situation where we're not going to see either team have long-term reigns with the tag titles. I think we're going to see them flop them back and forth for a bit. So I think Young Bucks are going to win this Saturday, and then FTR is going to retain it in a month or two, or at the next pay-per-view, and then the next pay-per-view we'll see them again, and it's just going to continue on that for a few months.
Let me throw this out here, and this just kind of popped into my head right now as we're talking through this. Would you be upset if they went into, say, a best-of-7 series between the two teams?
No, absolutely not.
Where will that lessen the tag team championship if they flip-flop it back and forth between the two teams?
No, because look how much WWE flip-flopped the WWE championship during the Attitude Era. I mean, it almost changed monthly, if not even maybe a couple times during the month. And that was the hottest time. So I think that these two teams are supposed to be the top two teams in AEW, so that they constantly best each other. I think at the end of the day, it's not the two teams that win the match, win the titles. I think it's the fans that win, because they get to watch the matches.
Yeah, it'll be interested to see how this match comes off. I really love FTR, the Young Bucks. I get it. They have their moments with me. This isn't one of them. I don't like how they built themselves up during this storyline to get to where we're at, and the complete 180 from being the douchey pricks that were super kicking everybody and breaking phones and everything else to now being uber baby faces that are putting everything on the line and are going to overcome ankle injuries and the pressures on them for not being able to challenge in the future for the tag team titles, and they're supposed to be the best tag team in the world. Like, I don't need all that. It didn't do anything for me. It didn't get me behind the Young Bucks more at all. So my heart says FTR, but my head says Young Bucks. So I guess I'll go with the Jackson brothers here to win the championship.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see, because I think leading up to this match, it almost felt like a heel versus heel match, which isn't really done too often in pro wrestling, especially after kind of MJF and Jericho were supposed to be a heel versus heel match. So, yeah, I think the Young Bucks' long-term heel run is probably going to end. If it didn't end this past week, it's going to end this Saturday or next week on Dynamite, because if they win the tag titles, I think they're going to come out and just be a whole different Young Bucks then. They're not going to be the Attitude Young Bucks. They're going to be happy that they have the tag titles and say, hey, I told you so. This is who we are. This is what we do. We win titles.
So you got the Bucks?
Yep, I got the Bucks.
All right. So Young Bucks there. That's the first title change on the card so far, if we're going prediction-wise that we've covered. So, yeah. All right. Lastly, main event time. Well, what we think is going to be the main event. The I Quit match between Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, and I got a feeling we're going to differ on this just a little bit.
You think? This match, the mic work is fine. I have no problem with the mic work. You keep saying that Eddie Kingston is going to talk you into the building. I've never once specifically paid money to watch a Jon Moxley match or a Dean Ambrose match, and I'm not doing it on this pay-per-view. There's so many other great matches on this card that this is the match that interests me the least.
Okay, so take all of that out of the equation, right? Take all that out of the equation. If I would have just sat you down, you didn't see anything beforehand, right? If I just sat you down last night for the 4 to 5 minute segment that them two had in the ring, does it make you want to see this match?
That whole scenario is a little tough to say, but I enjoyed the promo. I enjoyed the promo last night on Dynamite.
It's real. It's reality.
Yeah, I mean you can
It's
tell
real,
these are two guys that have worked together in the past. They know how to work each other, and I think they're going to give us a good match. I'm not going to say that they're going to go out there and give us the shits, but is it going to be a match that I'm going to walk out of and be like, "Yep, there's the match of the night"? No. Jon Moxley's winning. They're not giving Eddie Kingston the belt. Moxley's going to retain, and hopefully we see a decent match.
Wow. We're gonna have we're gonna do an all out, or I'm sorry, we're gonna do a Full Gear post show where we cover the pay-per-view in detail afterwards, and I suggest you guys hop on the YouTube channel and check that out once we post that video. So I'll be interested to see if you sing a different tune after the match. Listen,
I might show appreciation for the match, but I know I won't change on either one of them.
I mean, storyline wise, I'm not gonna say it's up there as good as Jay and Roman as far as storyline goes, but I mean, anytime that you get reality in real life in pro wrestling, it makes everything better. You can feel the emotions, everything comes across more. The action in the ring is better. These two are going to go in and they're going to potato the shit out of each other. And they're literally going to try to do everything to each other to make each other say, I quit. I have no doubt about that. I think the brutality in this match, if you're not a fan of the blood and the hardcore style, this could be not your cup of tea. But if you're looking for like that, old-fashioned ECW match where you're going to get Singapore canes and everything under the sun during the course of the match, I guarantee you that you will see that, and it'll be right up your alley. So I'm looking forward to it. I think they've done a hell of a job establishing Kingston as being a legitimate contender for the title. Like I said, his promos have been great. He's always a good talker on the mic. Moxley has stepped his game up to meet Eddie, which not a lot of people can do. Moxley has had his hits and misses with promos in AEW. I know you're not a fan of him at all, but I mean, I think this has been his best mic work since he's been in AEW, and that's simply because he has to keep up with Eddie on the mic. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a bring your lunch pail, strap your helmet, put on your big boy pants, and let's go to work type of match. So for that reason, I'm interested. I don't see Eddie winning either. I'll go with Moxley. I think it's going to come down to Moxley and Omega, and Omega is going to be the one to dethrone Moxley after him holding the belt for a year. So we'll get that storyline moving forward coming out of it. But yeah, give me Moxley, but I think you're going to sing a different tune after the match.
The one thing I will say is I don't hate Eddie Kingston. The thing that I think that he does a good job of on the mic is that it's not that I hate him. I hate his heel character. And I think that's where he shines. Like, he's just that douchebag that just runs his mouth all the time, and you just want to see him get his at some point.
See, I
And
think he's more. I think he's more than that, though. I don't think he's your. I don't think he's your typical. I don't. I don't see him as that typical heel that you want to see get his ass whooped.
see, I see him not even as that, but I think of, okay, people that we know, and like you just think of friends and stuff like that. And there's always that guy that sit there and go, this guy's talking shit again. And that's how I see Eddie Kingston. Is that type of guy. And it's just like you just kind of get tired of him running his mouth, and you just want him to get his one time. And that's kind of how I feel about this match.
Yeah, but I also see him as the guy that, like, yo, he's talking shit again, but he will definitely break this beer bottle and shank somebody.
Put it in.
You know, like,
I mean, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, we're gonna watch it together, so hopefully during the match, I'll give some appreciation for it.
yeah. I mean, we both see Moxley winning. I don't think anybody would. If this was, a bet on FanDuel, Kingston might be like plus 550 going into the match. Like, I don't see him. I don't see him being anywhere near a favorite at all. Moxley would definitely be the favorites where you'd have to, bet 300 to win 100. Like he's, that way. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's worthy of a main event spot, and a lot of people won't agree with me on that, and would say there's no reason why Eddie Kingston deserves to be in the spot that he's in right now. But to that, I would say, all right, well, who else are you going to put there based off of what they've done over the last 3 months?
Yeah, and we've already had, we had Lance Archer win. The Battle Royal? No, that was Cage that won the Battle Royal. So he had his title shot over the summer, and then Lance Archer won a match to get a shot at Mock. So yeah, the past couple months we've had a lot of different contenders for Jon Moxley. So
yeah, just generally, if you just look over at what people have done over the past three months since Eddie's joined AEW, who else has done the work that he's done to say I belong in the main event?
Yeah, it's true.
And I don't, I would argue that with anybody, no matter who you would rattle off name wise. So to me, he's a worthy number one contender. The storyline fits the match. The match is going to fit the storyline, and like I said, they're going to bring everything except he'll probably bring everything and the kitchen sink to this match to make each other say I quit.
Hey, and I something just got triggered while I was talking about it. I could be wrong on this, but is this the first AEW pay-per-view we're going to watch that doesn't have a casino battle royal? Because it seems like I think pretty much most of them have. Maybe there was one before, but I think they've all had some sort of battle royal.
No, I'd have to go back through again, but yeah. I think there's been more than one or two. Typically, the battle royals are for all out. You have the battle royal, Double or Nothing. That's when Cage won his. That's when he debuted and won his battle royal.
Yeah, and then they did one at All Out.
Yeah, that was it.
Lance Archer won. Was that?
That was when, Archer won, even though Kingston was never thrown over the top.
And then I think it might have been at Revolution last year. They did the female battle royal, same casino battle royal, but just with the women. And then they had done one previously at All Out. So, yeah, I know they didn't do one at like the free events last year, the Fighter Fest and the Fight for the Fallen. But
right.
Maybe, yeah. I'm gonna go back and take a look at that and do that, but.
Yeah, all in all, like I said, this has potential to be pay-per-view of the year as far as match quality goes.
On paper, it looks like an amazing card.
It does. Like I said, to kick off the breakdown here, this was the card that a lot of people expected for All Out. We're getting it at Full Gear. I'm not going to complain that we got it at Full Gear. It's stacked, it's loaded. Hopefully the matches live up to their billing as they look and appear on paper. Any surprises do you think happen at the pay-per-view? Any shocks?
I'm always one that loves to see them. I heard EC3's done with Impact right now, so he's currently working on Ring of Honor. Maybe we see an EC3.
I think he's going to strictly do Ring of Honor for a while here. I don't see him hopping over yet.
Maybe if he shows up, maybe it would be at the deletion match. He would kind of fit into there, but other than that, no. I honestly can't think of anything that might happen. What about you?
I saw some rumors rumbling around, and I guess this because of the tie-in with NWA, but some people are speculating we might see an appearance from the NWA World's Champion with the 10 pounds of gold, Mr. Nick Aldis, show up.
Okay.
That would be interesting,
Any rumor on what he might do, or?
No, and this was just, I don't even think this was like a legitimate rumor mill site. It was more just fanfare speculating, potentially, given everything that's gone on and the quote-unquote partnership that the two companies have. So
I wouldn't hate it.
No, I wouldn't hate it at all if it would lead to something. I don't know what it would lead to, but that wouldn't be a bad surprise at all. What do you have as your match of the night that you would peg? Bet, man, if you had to put $20 down, we're broke, so $20 is a lot of money to us. But what would you say would be the match of the night?
If I had to bet on it, I'd go FTR Young Bucks.
I would tend to agree with you. That's what I hope that's match of the night. To me, like they talk about AEW wanting to be based upon tag team wrestling and be known for tag team wrestling, and their tag team division is stacked top to bottom. It's clearly the best out of any promotion that's out there. It's not even close. No. I would have liked to seen it to where this match would be the main event of the pay-per-view.
Okay.
But storyline-wise, I don't think it dictates to be put on last.
No. And, if Kenny Omega is going to fight for the World Championship at Revolution, if that's the next pay-per-view, I don't see that happening either. I see him getting his moment in the main event. You had predicted on a previous episode of the podcast that you think, maybe Double or
Yeah, I lost sound there on you. I don't know what you said right there. You cut out. So I don't know if that's on your end or my end. Hopefully that's not on the video itself with Chris dropping off. Or are you able to hear me? Yeah, I can't hear you at all.
Hold on now.
There you go. Here you go.
Okay. I don't know what happened there. I don't know where it ended off, just in case it did lose audio on the video. I said, if you would end up doing the best of 7 series, maybe at Double or Nothing, we could see that main event like you had previously teased in a podcast before.
Okay. I thought you were going to say something else about what I previously predicted or said I would like to see as far as the tag team title match goes with, they kind of, Hangman and Omega were in the ring. Young Bucks and FTR were there on Dynamite.
I'm not sure, but I have a feeling they might be saving that still. They could launch it, but I have a feeling they're saving that.
Yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, what episode was that? Episode 7 or 8?
Yeah, we've talked about it a couple times. So
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe we don't get a legitimate finish this time. They're so evenly paired that we end up in a draw. Um, I don't know.
so it's only if the Young Bucks lose. That's stipulation. So
Right.
if it's a time limit draw, yeah, it really doesn't. They didn't lose, I guess, but
Yeah, they didn't lose, so you can't say that they can't challenge again.
yeah.
So match of the night for me, as much as I'd like to agree with you, I'm going to go with what I said earlier in the breakdown. I'm going to go with Omega and Page.
Okay.
You know, the bout machine, I think, will be back. Hangman can go with anybody. He's shown that before. He may even be underrated in the ring. They've put on match of the nights as a tag team, so I don't see why there's no difference that they won't go out there and put on match of the night as a one-on-one singles match between the two.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the breakdown. That's the predictions from your favorite two dumb marks. Again, after Full Gear on Saturday night, we're going to hop on and do a complete rundown of the pay-per-view, what we think of the fallout, where things may go after that. And in the meantime, feel free to reach out to us on any of our social medias. You can also email the podcast at dumbmarkspod@gmail.com. Be on the lookout for episode 10.
Done.
Episode 10. 10. No gimmick infringement. Episode 10 to drop on Monday, where you'll get all your bell-to-bell drink of the week, this week in sports, and whatever else we decide to throw at you during the course of that podcast. And any final words on Full Gear or anything else before we get out of here tonight?
Nothing else on Full Gear, but thanks for watching, guys. Definitely please follow us on social media at dumbmarkspod and keep the conversation going. Let us know what your predictions are.
Yep, sir. We've had good views, some good turnouts on these other prediction shows. We like to keep the ball rolling here, and by all means, interact with us as much as possible. You can find it, tweet us anywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Reach out, let us know, and we'll look forward to breaking down Full Gear and giving you that goodness that you like to come to and listen to every week on the Dumb Marks podcast. And for that, you can catch us around the way.